Welcome to episode 2 of our podcast on inspection of wire rope for cranes.
Dave is going to review the specific issues that occur during inspection. First, can you tell us what types of issues come up relating to inspections?
Yeah, what I've seen over the years is that some people just take the easy way out, and on a lot of the cranes, the operator's cab, and the operator is usually the one that's doing the inspection, or typically the one that would be doing the inspection. But on a lot of cranes, the operator's cab is relatively close to the drum where the rope comes on and off the drum as it's working. And it's relatively easy for an operator to just look over and take a look at the rope, or get out of the cab and go take a look at the rope on the drum. And the rest of the rope is going to be up in the reeving, and it might be 100 feet above him. So that makes a simple inspection relatively difficult. Now, the standard requires that every rope has to be visually inspected every day, which means that for the operator to visually inspect a rope that's 100 feet above his head makes it somewhat difficult. But it's necessary for them to see what needs to be seen, because in a lot of cases, the ropes may be deteriorating in an area that is not easily seen. So that makes it difficult at times to be able to do a proper inspection. And a proper inspection is not just a quick look and it looks okay and that's the end of it. Because I've been looking at ropes for 50 some years in the field and in the shop and in the lab, and I can't see a broken wire in a rope from 10 feet away. So there's no way that an operator is going to be able to see a broken wire in a rope that's 100 feet in the air. That's just not possible. So it's really critical to do a proper inspection. You really have to get up close to the rope, close enough and in enough light. If it's 5 o'clock in the morning when the guy comes on the shift and it's dark out and he has to take a look at the rope, he's not going to see anything. So it's important that the operator is able to get up close and personal with the rope. And when I say up close and personal, I'm saying, if you're 6 feet away, that's not close enough to see broken wires. You really have to get within a couple of feet and in good light to see a broken wire. And not only that, but it's really critical that the rope is clean and dry. If for whatever reason they are using a field dressing or a field lubricant to re-lubricate the rope, it has to be fairly clear and it has to be penetrating, because if they're using a dark colored lube, then what can happen is that dark colored field dressing or lube can cover up broken wires that they won't see. So there's really many things that have to be done in order to be able to see what needs to be seen, so that the operation is safe.
You've been doing this for a long time, over 50 years. What's the most common inspection issue you've seen in the field?
The most common, as I was saying, is they just don't look in the right places at the right time for deterioration that is very, very easy to see. As I said, I've been involved in a lot of pretty bad accident investigations, and in most, if not all cases, the reason the rope failed is that it wasn't inspected properly. And that to me is something that every operator needs to understand and know, that if he or someone else does not do a proper inspection at the proper time in the proper location, and some of these ropes are 1,000 feet long. We're not talking about 50 feet of rope. We're talking about 1,000 feet of rope, and sometimes that rope is 100 feet or more above their head. So, you know, a lot of times that requires the boom to be lowered to the ground so they can walk along the boom itself and see all the rope. And that is not always done. The other thing that I think is proven to be really critical is that I have always been very much in favor of a detailed inspection and also a good history of what happened to that rope. Because some of these cranes are going to be in service for 10, 15, 20 years. And what I would always like to see is the operator or the company, the end user, would keep a history of what's happening. You know, that they know when the rope is installed, they know when it's taken off, they know the reason it was taken off, and they document all that so that they know that, okay, the last rope lasted a year, and the last rope was taken out of service because there was a certain problem, broken wires in a certain area of the rope. And if they document that, if they write that history, then they know pretty much when to start looking and where to start looking because they know where the problem area is. Now, that being said, it's very common for cranes to be used in different applications for different reasons. You know, they might have a duty cycle application, and the duty cycle means it's doing the same thing day after day after day. Other cranes that are rental cranes, they're doing one job one day and another job another day. So that's a little bit more difficult to keep a good history, but at least if they know how many hours that crane worked or how many days or months or however, you know, if they keep history, then it's much easier for them to be able to, as I said, to determine when and why to really concentrate their inspections. And again, the rope has to be clean. They have to get up close and personal with the rope to really be able to see what needs to be seen.
So to summarize, what does BBRG recommend when it comes to these inspection issues?
Well, I mean, everybody has to go by the standard. You know, these are standards, and they are based on testing that has been done over the years. So they really need to, you know, what I would suggest is that every operator gets a copy of that standard so they know what it says, what they need to do. You know, the standard says that the rope has to be visually inspected daily. Every section of that rope that is going to be used in any given day has to be visually inspected daily. Now, they don't have to keep a written record of that, but they were also required to do a periodic inspection where records have to be kept. That's what the safety standard requires. And basically what OSHA or the government has done is they've basically adopted these standards. So the OSHA standards are law. These B30 standards are voluntary. So they're not really law, but the OSHA standards are law. So they're really required to do this. And as I said, there's the daily inspection, and then there's the periodic inspection, where the periodic inspection requires a detailed report of the inspection. But even those I've seen don't really go into the kind of detail that really needs to be done, where they know where and when to look and how to look. And as I said, you know, a lot of people just don't go far enough, and failures are occurring in sections of rope that should have been inspected and they should have seen because it's very obvious, but they're not seeing it, and that's a problem.
Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode in our series.